reason the show has taken a Scottish influence is because I'm delighted to say that I'm now going to talk to Kirsten Oswald, SNP Deputy Westminster Leader, about the whole issue of Scottish independence, because it's a fascinating subject. You know, will the union eventually break up? I hope not, because I'm a huge supporter of the union, but I want to find out the view from Scotland. So can I say a very big welcome to Kirsten. Kirsten, hello.
Hello there, Mike.
Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Kirsten, can I make it just absolutely clear to you before we get into talks about the whole issue of, India F2, if there's going to be one? I am a huge Scottish fan. I'm not anti-Scottish at all. I'm not against Scotland. I love Scotland. And in fact, I have with me my hat here, which I'm going to put on now because this is live on YouTube. And this is my Edinburgh hat, okay? Because I do the fringe.
I can't see your hat, Mike.
No, okay. Well,
I'm down the line. You need to describe it to me.
Well, this is for our millions of listeners, okay, who are watching live on YouTube. So I thought I'd just let you know I've got my Scottish hat on. That's what I wear when I go to the Edinburgh Festival. I love the Edinburgh Festival, and the reason I love the Edinburgh Festival is because it is everything Scottish, and you have a fantastic culture. You have an absolutely delightful attitude to life. I want you to be part of the union forever. But Kirsten, tell me please why you think it's so important that the union has to be broken up.
Well, I'm really pleased to hear that you're such an enthusiast for all things Scottish, first of all.
Yep.
But I think it's quite straightforward for me. Scotland is a country with huge potential. We have so much going for us, as you're describing yourself.
Yes.
But at the moment, we're not fulfilling that potential.
Right.
So I think that there's a better way. There's a fairer way. There's an opportunity for us to be the people who are in charge of our own destiny. Okay. And I think that that's an increasingly attractive prospect for people.
Right. Now, thank you very much for outlining that, because one of the things I want to put to you, and this is the main reason I've asked you onto the show, is that I don't know how Scotland, which I keep repeating is a great country, is going to be able to afford to be an independent country without the assistance of the UK government and the revenues that you receive from Whitehall as being part of the United Kingdom. I think there's going to be huge shortfalls in the revenues, the money you raise, and the way that you're going to be able to operate your own structural systems like tax and and earning money abroad, exports, all that kind of stuff. I can't see how it can add up.
Okay, I don't agree with that. So if you look at all of the smaller countries around the world, countries that are maybe a similar size or a similar profile to Scotland,
yes,
they are plainly managing perfectly well, and some of them have been in a more positive position than we have recently because they've been able to make the decisions that are right for the people in these countries.
Yes.
And that's critical. That's what we would like to do in Scotland. We'd like to be able to make the decisions that are right for us. So as things stand at the moment, we're not able to do that. We don't have the economic levers. We don't have the power to use economic levers in a way which would allow us to make the right decisions here and now. So one of the really interesting examples at the moment, and it's going to be something that troubles a lot of people, is the issue of furlough. So at the moment, we're in the position, a difficult position of pleading with the UK government to extend the furlough scheme. Yeah. Now, obviously, they have the power to do that, and they're choosing not to do that. Mm-hmm. That's their choice. That wouldn't be our choice. So we would like to go down the same road as countries like France and Germany, who are extending significantly to try and protect. And, there are industries and areas of the country where that would be particularly important. As things stand, we do not have the ability to do that. Yeah. And that is hugely frustrating because that's something that could ultimately be very positive for our economy, but we're not able to do that. So that's one of any number of examples of us not being able to make the choices that are right for Scotland.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to be able to raise the revenues. I know you can do anything with figures, but look, I've been researching this because I wanted to obviously know what I'm talking about when I'm talking to somebody like yourself, and I found out that in Scotland, £11,000 per person is spent on public services from Whitehall, whereas in England that's £9,000 per head on public services, and more more money is spent in Scotland than is in England. Tax revenues generated in Scotland are 62 billion, including the North Sea oil percentage you get, but benefits to the tune of 75 billion from public spending from the United Kingdom government. Those figures don't add up on you being independent.
But we've done the sums too, Mike, so we may agree to differ there.
Yes, sure.
You actually hit on a really important point there about the different choices that the Scottish Government makes. So where we are able to, where we have the power to do that, and we don't have the power, as I said, in many critical areas, then we do make different choices. Mm-hmm. So in terms of health, in terms of education, you can make all kinds of different decisions. So we have free prescriptions here. We have baby boxes, which all new parents receive. There are free school meals for younger pupils, free prescriptions, free eye tests. The choices are ours to make in these areas, and we're able to take the direction that we feel is the most beneficial to the people who live here. Yeah. We're not able to do that with economic choices, because we have very few levers that we are able to pull there. If we were able to make these economic decisions for ourselves, then there would not be the same economic decisions which are being made by Westminster. These decisions may very well be the ones, and I'm sure they are, that the Westminster government feel are right for them, but they're not the same decisions that we would make. They're not the right decisions which, they don't suit the needs of the Scottish economy and the Scottish people. So if we were in a position to pull all of the levers, make all of the economic decisions, then we would do so many things differently. But the reason for all of that, the reason that this is important and it matters, is because that's part of the bigger picture of making a country work for the people who live here. Yeah. And at the moment, I'm absolutely not convinced that things are working as they should for the people in Scotland.
Okay. Well, obviously that's your job and that's what you've got to do. I sometimes think, be careful what you wish for. We all want a better life and all that kind of stuff. My main worry is I've got a lot of friends in Scotland. I like going to Scotland. I've done shows in the clubs of Sauchiehall Street, stand-up comedy with a Scottish audience. Brilliant, and then off to the curry house afterwards and all that kind of stuff. And would you agree with me that a fine piece of bagpipe playing was definitely Paul McCartney's Mull of Kintyre?
I do actually. I remember that from when I was quite a wee girl. I remember it being really popular then. Absolutely. But I don't mind a bit of bagpipes or a bit of curry, as you're suggesting. Yeah. But there's no reason that we wouldn't be extremely keen for you to come and visit and do your comedy here when we're independent. Yeah. One of the big things that matters to me is that Scotland has this opportunity to be an open, outward-looking country where people are welcome. Yeah. At the moment, that isn't the narrative of the UK government, and that really troubles me.
What would you... I'm sorry to interrupt, Kirsten.
Live in a country that's much more open and welcoming.
What would your relationship with Europe be?
Again, Scotland is a European country, and I think that that's quite an integral part of many people's identities. It's certainly something that matters a lot to me, and it has done for many years. Yeah. So in the area I live in East Renfrewshire, more than 75% of people voted to remain in the EU, and it really, really genuinely troubles and upsets people, this notion of being dragged out of the EU against our will. Every single area in Scotland voted to remain in the EU, but we are facing the prospect of being pushed over this cliff edge, which I think will be particularly damaging. I think that the lack of planning is one of the troubling aspects, but it's going to be damaging anyway. Yeah. So to see Scotland at the heart of Europe is certainly something that I would aspire to. I think that is part of being an open, outward-looking, inclusive country. That's where we want to be in the future.
Okay, well, that's fine. Look, I just wanted you to outline that. Just want you to know you've got loads of friends in England. I don't want the union smashed up. If it is, if we part, I hope we remain friends on every level, okay?
Absolutely right.
Yeah, Kirsten, thank you very much indeed for joining me today. That's Kirsten Oswald, the SNP Deputy Westminster Leader. My big worry about Scotland is how do they afford everything, And, of course, if they become an independent country and they be a small country within Europe, obviously, they'll benefit massively. Look at Ireland. Ireland's a small country, but look how they benefited from Europe. I mean, the amount of money that's been pumped into Ireland, by the European Union. I've got a friend who lives over in Ireland, and he's been working in England for probably the last 30 years, 35 years, something like that, maybe 40 years. And he used to live in a little village. And the way they used to get to the next village up the road, which is about 4 miles away, was a horse and cart, literally. Not because they're backward country or anything like that, but because they're rural. And people still like doing that sort of thing. But over the years, things have changed. There's now a 4-lane dual carriageway, right? 2 lanes either way. From his village to the next village, no traffic ever uses it. They just felt they built a road. They'd build a road because, you know, the funds just kept going into Ireland and roads appeared all over the place. Probably a good thing to help one country. I don't want to see the dissolution of the Union, which I think has been with us since 1707. Okay.